Hey there, Jack here. Thank you so much for joining me. It's a beautiful morning. The sun is shining. I came outside to sit on the steps near the garden, and I just wanted to share a story that I wrote from my book, Parables. I really hope that you enjoy it. Number 5. The Stranger. It was dusk when the stranger's caravan finally arrived at the great gates of Dolinar, the city that the men of Sabur also called the bronze petal of the desert, for the soaring bronze spires and minarets which rose into the sky like an opening flower. They had been traveling for 8 weeks. The stranger's feet were tired from leading his companion's animals. His legs had even grown tired of gripping the swaying saddle, so he was almost too weary to ride. But when the party passed inside the huge sandstone walls, and he stared up the shadow-strewn central avenue, his weariness evaporated. Uncertainty and apprehension replaced it. In the city of Anakar, where he had lived for 3 long years, the young man had known what he was: a thief, a scavenger of men, and a refuse picker among the gutters. But he had left all that behind, fleeing south, and he had said that he would no longer be what he was before. Only now, part of him longed for the dusty alleys of Anakar and the ever-present prickle of fear down his spine. Because here in Dolinar, he was nothing. Not a thief, just a stranger, hardly even a man at all, more like a lost child. Worst of all, he felt a stranger, even to himself. The other men of the company were already separating. With good cheer and growing excitement, each one of them said goodbye to his friends and then led his animals through the darkening streets toward his own home. The stranger watched, saying nothing. He had learned to speak something of the language, which was very like the desert tongue once your mouth found its way around the strange new cadence. But when one of the men waved goodbye to him, he responded only in silent surprise, with an upraised hand. Lamplighters were appearing in the streets and lighting shallow bronze lamps on the street corners by the time the last man had departed. Mahmoud appeared. The middle-aged man's golden nose ring flashed and swung, his shaven head glossy with the lamplight. His heavy-laden camel swayed to a halt behind him, a lanky, humped shadow. "Where are you going on this night, O young street rat from the city of Anakar?" Mahmoud asked, or something of that sort. The stranger always got the impression that Mahmoud was quoting an epic poem or Saburi scriptures. They had met on the first night of the journey and developed a sort of comfortable companionship. The stranger shrugged in answer. "An inn, maybe?" he said, miming food. But in truth, he had no coins and would probably just sleep on a stoop or behind an abandoned building. In a stable, if he was lucky. Mahmoud narrowed his eyes as if sensing the lie. He sniffed and scratched his broad stomach. "The great books warn us against loose tongues and idle gossip, but I wonder if I might inquire. I have seen you put yourself to many uses on our pilgrimage, and yet you've never shared your trade. What was your occupation before you joined our caravan?" The stranger stiffened. Then he considered. It wasn't like he would be seeing the man again, and Mahmoud had been the first one to treat him with kindness when the stranger had joined the men of Sabur on the road outside of Anakar. He had earned honesty, at least. "In that city," the stranger answered, ducking his head, "I was known to be a lowly thief." He expected a snort of disbelief or a pitying look, so he was astonished by Mahmoud's response. "Ah, Sulam and Salib be praised, for I thought it might be so. Come, come, you are perfect, street rat. Mahmoud smiled broadly. Come, he said again, reaching out and placing a hand on the stranger's shoulder. You will join me this night to meet my brother, and we will drink and make plans together. And then you will know the greatness of the date wine of Diwali, and the greatness in the mind of Mahmud's brother Jafari, who could use a man with the skills of a noble rogue. The stranger hesitated. A noble rogue? He shook his head. You mistake me, he said, trying to explain in the other man's language. A thief, I mean, one who steals. Mahmud fluttered his hands dismissively. Know you of the picking of locks and the opening of closed things? Can you sneak through the shadows and slip your hands in and out of the pockets of the wicked? Is there any art more noble than the redistributing of riches? I, Mahmud al-Turan, say that my friend of these 8 weeks is no thief, but the opener of closed doors that my brother has been seeking. The stranger wasn't sure how to respond, but Mahmud was already turning away. Come, the man invited him one more time over his shoulder. Or you may sleep in the streets, if you truly wish it so. The camel began to plod away. The stranger watched. A door had opened before him. Could he accept the offer that his new friend wished to give him? He clenched his fists, then slowly let them fall open. A noble rogue, he thought, trying on the idea to see if it fit. He wasn't sure, but maybe he could grow into it. The camel was not hard to follow, for the lamps had already been lighted in the city of Diwali. The past is already done, but we can change the way we think and speak about it. Maybe an Achilles heel can become an advantage. Thank you so much for listening. I loved writing these stories, and I hope you enjoy listening to them. If you'd like to read more, you can find them on my website, jackdolinar.com, or you can find your own copy of Parables on Amazon. Or you can come back tomorrow and listen to me read you the next parable. I'm so excited and happy to share them with you. I love you so much, and I hope you have a beautiful day.